Algae blooms, a slimy path to renewable energy. Algae are non-plant organisms that live in water. They use photosynthesis to produce sugars and oxygen from water, CO2, and sunlight. Algae can live in fresh, salt, or brackish water, which is a mixture of fresh and salt water. There are thousands of types of algae, which fall under two main categories. Macroalgae, which are large and multicellular, and include seaweeds such as sargassum, which can form into large oceanic masses and provide habitat for marine life. And microalgae, which are tiny single-celled phytoplankton. They're the main source of food for fish and marine life and account for half of the photosynthetic activity on Earth. Some microalgae can release toxins under the right circumstances, like cyanobacteria. So what are algae blooms? Algae can reproduce very quickly under the right circumstances. With plenty of sunlight, warm water temperatures and stagnation, and high nutrient levels in the water due to chemical runoff, such as phosphorus, these population explosions are called algae blooms. Harmful algae blooms, or HABs, occur when toxin-producing microalgae form into blooms, releasing toxins into the aquatic environment. Some common types include blue-green freshwater HABs from cyanobacteria or microcystis, or red or brown saltwater HABs from Karenia brevis, Pseudonitskia, or Alexandrium. Harmful algae blooms can have impacts on human health, as toxins from HABs can be ingested directly from the water source or through contaminated seafood. These toxins can cause serious adverse health effects such as gastrointestinal illness, liver damage, neurological disorders, and even death. Environmental impacts. As HABs consume the oxygen in the water, they can asphyxiate plant and animal life. This can have widespread consequences as ecosystems are connected through the watersheds. And the economic consequences of HABs can cause waters to become unusable for recreation or consumption by human or animal, resulting in lost revenues for businesses and massive cleanup costs. Algae are used to measure water quality through physical sampling and satellite imagery. Physical monitoring of aquatic ecosystems through regular sampling of algae is a tried and true method due to their reliance on the water. Their short lifespan of 6 to 8 weeks and limited mobility mean that they are excellent indicators of recent environmental changes in the immediate area. Algae that form on rocks or soils can even be used for historical analysis due to their protective silica cell walls. The Cyanobacteria Assessment Network, or CYAN, is a U.S. multi-agency project which monitors harmful algae blooms through satellites. Cyanobacteria contain a pigment called chlorophyll A, which can be seen and measured through satellite imagery and can then be responded to immediately. By using a combination of both methods, scientists and governments can enact better measures to protect the public and ecosystems affected by harmful algae blooms. So what are biofuels? Biofuels are made from living or recently harvested plants or animal waste. These materials are renewable, unlike materials used in fossil fuel production. And like other renewable sources of biofuels, algae can be farmed in large-scale operations, either in outdoor ponds or contained bioreactors. So why are algae a good source? Algae, like animals and plants, contain triglycerides, a fatty molecule used as feedstock to make biofuels. The oils in green algae are an excellent source of feedstock. Biofuels from green algae are made by extracting the oils, either by pressing, like wine grapes, or by combining them with an organic solvent. Biofuels that can be created from the oils of algae include algae coal, made from the dried pressed oils, and methane biogas, which are created in anaerobic environments with bacteria. For production of biodiesel, the oils are then converted into fatty acid methyl esters, or FAMEs. By understanding how algae blooms form, scientists can adapt their overproductive nature to create the large quantities of algae needed to produce biofuels. So what are some benefits of biofuel production from algae? Algae contain more oil by volume compared to other sources of biofuels. Algae consumes CO2 in large amounts, so large-scale farming of algae could possibly help reduce global CO2 emissions. Farming algae does not use farmland viable for crops or animals, and so can be conducted almost anywhere conditions can be met. Water for algae farming does not need to be clean, and when used in wastewater treatment, algae can actually clean the water before being reused for biofuel production. Downsides of biofuel production from algae. Biorefining algae is a slow and costly process compared to other renewable sources of biofuels. Currently, the energy used to create biofuels is more than they produce. Outdoor pond farming uses a lot of water, which can evaporate and needs to be replaced. There is also a risk of contamination to a crop due to the open air conditions. Building and maintaining biofuel refineries is very expensive and may be more than investors are willing to fund. Yet creating renewable sources of energy is essential in the battle against climate change. With further research into reducing the production costs of biofuels made from algae, along with the study of the expansionary nature of algae blooms, scientists can utilize this knowledge to increase production of algae to greater and more desirable quantities needed for biofuel production.